Okay, so thank you for attending the training session today for the Remedy Force Winter 17 update. This is an update that will be applied across campus for all users the first week of March. Um, we are looking to roll this out for the service desk to begin to test on March 3rd. They will test that weekend, and then it'll be pushed out to everybody at the university March 6th. So that Monday of spring break, we will have this across campus for everyone to be able to use. So, just want to kind of go over some key changes that we will see in the new release and get comfortable with those. Kind of excited about this release. There are quite a few things that have been asked for since we rolled Remedy Force out about a year and a half ago that they have delivered in this release. They're taking the user interface seriously. Many people have complained about the look and the feel of it, and so they're making a concerted effort to change that interface and to make sure that it is uh, easy to use for people and is very intuitive. So hopefully you will see that with this release, and they'll continue to make further adjustments going forward. Okay, so what I have pulled up on the screen here is the current self-service. So what you see when you log into helpdesk.memphis.edu is this screen right here. You have your self-service tab and your Remedyforce tab, uh, Remedyforce Console tab rather, if you are a staff member. So what I'm going to do, how this is going to go, is I'm first going to talk about the self-service changes and how that pertains to the end user particularly, and then I will jump over to the console. We really didn't want to have two separate trainings, one for staff and one for just the end user. So I'm just going to talk about the end user first and self-service and how that has changed, and then we'll move to the console. So if you are attending this session or if you are viewing the recording of this session after we get through with the self-service tab and you are not a staff member, feel free to continue watching if you want, but the part that applies to the Remedyforce console will not really have much information for you unless you are a staff member. So anyway, so this self-service, like I said, this is how you see it now. I'm not really going to go over each of these details because this is the way it's looked pretty much for the past year and a half since we rolled out. But you'll see you got your different tiles here that perform your different functions, as well as the ability to choose some common service requests and some popular ask time articles. So what they've done in the new release is they've changed this completely, and what we'll see here is the layout of the new release. So what you'll notice is that the tiles here are a little bit more narrow. They don't extend, a greater portion of the screen. And you'll notice that the common service requests and the popular Ask Tom articles, whereas in the current release, it's kind of a toggle. It's a tab whether you view one or the other. You cannot view both simultaneously. Well, in the new release, you have the ability to view up to 6 at a given time. So what we'll have is 6 common service requests that'll be viewable here, and then any more that are contained within here, you could click on all and be able to view all of the common service requests. We just have 9 listed right here. That is something we can manually adjust which ones are listed here. But on this screen, on the home screen, you just have 6. As well as popular Ask Tom articles, it's the same thing. You have 6 popular Ask Tom articles, and if you click all, you can view, you see 8, so you can view the remaining 2. Okay, so that's the difference here. Like I said, you don't have that little toggle, if you will, between the 2 different tabs. In your tiles here, what you'll notice is if you click on request a service, which is where people navigate to if they want to enter in a ticket, and let's say they want to request that a phone be installed, or they need someone to come to their office to assist with an office computer, they would click on request a service. So you can click on that, and what you'll see here is your different categories, if you will. So If we were talking about someone coming out to your office, so that would be, say, PC, Mac, or other hardware, excuse me. When you click on that, well, I don't have that one configured, so that's not a good one. So let's go back over here. Let's go to communication network. Okay. Well, that is just not working right now. This is kind of embarrassing here. Well, that is not cool. I don't know why those two aren't working. This is test, or actually this is dev. So not everything that is currently in our production is over here. This is just kind of for demonstration purposes. But I have got another org that is working that does have everything. So for the remaining training sessions, which are 3 more, I will use that org to demonstrate. So I apologize for that. But if you do attend any of the other ones, you will shouldn't run into this issue. So for demonstrative purposes, we'll just say use the account and password category. So when you click on that, what you'll see then here is you have 2 subcategories that exist under the account and password. And then these down here are different offerings, if you will, or different services, different forms. So under account and password, say you have auditor. So for auditors from the state, federal, other offices needing access to U of M services or different U of M functions. And like I said, this is Tesla. It's a little bit slower. I apologize for the latency here. Learned my lesson. I will use the other one for the subsequent trainings. So, like I said, once you click on this and it loads, you will see the form appears to be a pop-up, which is much different from the current one, where if you follow the same path, request a service, and now you've got like collapsible and expanding categories here. You would have to click on account and password. Notice that even this doesn't work. You have to actually expand by clicking on the little arrow, and then you have to expand here, and then you'd have to click, say, auditor here, and then you click on the offering, and then you have it just opens up in the same window. Okay, and you've got your instructions here and your different fields to enter in here, and then a section to submit your attachments. Whereas in the new one, like we discussed, you just account and password, and then so this, the way it's configured, you've got auditor listed here, as well as listed under sponsored accounts. And that's probably because this isn't a very good environment because it's dev. The way it should work is that you would click on sponsored accounts and then auditor, and then click on offering. So the major difference that I want people to understand is that where in the current system, everything is collapsible and expanding, and then you get to view your different offerings. And the new one, it's not that way. It just takes you to what is contained within that category or subcategory, and then you click that offering, and it appears in a little pop-up here. Now, even though it looks like a pop-up, it doesn't actually function like a pop-up. So the browser doesn't view it as one. If you have your pop-up blocker turned on, it shouldn't interfere with this at all. Well, you'll notice in the old one, you got your instructions at the very top up here. The way it looks in the new one is that you'll get the first little blurb for instructions listed in this blue bar with the exclamation point. And you'll see it's give you the first little bit, and then you got ellipses here. If you click on that to expand it, it will give you the remaining instructions on how to proceed. What we've seen previously is that you have the ability to enter in a ticket on the behalf of someone else. So let's say you're entering in a ticket for someone. You have the capability to do that up here in the upper right corner. You could click on this arrow and then search for their name. So if I wanted, for instance, I'll just pick on Hugh. If I wanted to enter a ticket in for Hugh, I could just type his name and then search for him and say there's a lot of Hugh or Hughes, but here is Hugh Busby listed here. So you'd find his name and click on it. And then as long as that person's name is listed here, you would have the ability to enter that ticket in on the behalf of them. Whereas in the new system, it pretty much functions the same way. It just looks a little bit different. You see where it says on behalf of self. So by default, you're going to enter a ticket in for yourself. However, if you want to enter a ticket in for someone else, you would hit edit, and then you would just search for that person here. So you see, I searched for Hugh Busby, and there he is, and I click that, and now his name is listed here. So the ticket would be entered in for Hugh. But if you decide you don't want to do that, you can just hit undo, and it reverts it back. Okay, so now it's requesting it for the dev account that I'm logged into. Okay, so that's just the difference between the on behalf of, instead of it being up here, it's just located right here, and you just hit edit. Okay, so you'll see another difference with the fields. The description for the field was always to the left in self-service, and then you would have the field over here to the right. If it was required, you would have a red bar listed here that would denote, hey, this is a required field that will not allow you to submit the ticket without it. And if you try to submit a ticket without, you would get this error message that tells you every single thing that was required that you have not filled out, as well as it would denote it underneath that field. Well, in the new form, you have a description of the field. Instead of it being to the left of the field, it is directly above that field. So you'll notice here, banner ID. So it's asking you for the banner ID directly above that field, and you would enter that information here, and so on and so forth. Instead of there just being a simple red bar beside the field to denote that that field is required, it actually says required right here in orange text. Unfortunately, I cannot change the color of the required, but it does say required here. And maybe it looks a little red to some people, but I believe it's supposed to be a dark orange. So anyway, so that's what that looks like. And then if you hit submit, you will see it'll tell you, hey, read all your error messages below. Whereas previously, it gave you, hey, enter a value for every one of these fields. So it looks kind of lengthy. Whereas the new one, it just says, read your error messages. But then in the error message tells you, hey, enter a value here, so on and so forth. So if I had all of these filled out except for, say, one, I would just scroll down and see it would say enter a value for the specific field. Okay. So I'm just going to enter some dummy data to show you what it looks like when you actually submit a ticket. Probably could have picked a form that had a smaller list of fields, but that's okay. This is the first training. I'll remember to do that for the next one. Get to put my birthday in here. I'm going to say I was born in 83. I'm just going to put all the same information in here because I don't want to pick anybody else. Start date, let's do today. Or you could just click on the little calendar. Oh, end date. So I typed it in the first time. We'll do a calendar selection on the second one. And then urgency is going to give you which values that you can select. So we'll say just for its high. And then if I want to attach an attachment, I could here. Okay. So got everything filled out. I hit submit. It's going to think about it for a second, and then it should give me a ticket number right here at the top. Like I said, this is the development org, so it is a little bit slower. So it's having to think, and there it goes. So it says, thank you, your service request has been submitted, and gives me my ticket number. And then poof, went away. Okay. So that's how you submit a ticket. Okay. You can also, if you know the name of the service, or if you want to search via keyword for the service that you're trying to look through, submit for, instead of coming through these categories and subcategories, you can just click up here in the search field and actually search for it. So let's say I know I want to create a ticket for a sponsored account for an auditor. I can search up here. And there we go. Okay. And then you can just click on that and it would open that field up. Okay. And it also gives you, if you had any Ask Tom articles about that issue, it would give that to you as well. So if I click here for Ask Tom articles, if I had any with the keyword of audit or auditor, it would be listed here, but we don't currently have one. So Service Quest, it shows you everything with that keyword in it. Okay, so that's how you submit a service request. And you hit home, go back home. If you want to view your Ask Tom articles, once again, if you know the name of it, like it would just went over a second ago, you just search it here. So let's say I want to search for something about wireless. So use all the service requests with that pertain to the wireless. If I click on the Ask Tom articles, it will give me the Ask Tom articles with the keyword of wireless. So if I search for it and I find one, I can click on it and it will bring up that Ask Tom article. It is still thinking about it, so bear with it for just a second. Okay, so here is our Ask Tom article. We've got the Ask Tom article number as well as the question and answer. We have our link here to take us to the ResNet application or rather the ResNet page that has instructions on how to get access for my gaming system. After you view the article, well, actually, before I get to that, if you wanted a print, you have this little print icon up here. You can click on that, and it'll send it straight to your printer if you do want that. After you view your article, you can rate it as whether it's helpful or non-helpful, and you can give any potential feedback that you may or may not have, and say, hey, it met my needs or it did not. And then, so I'm going to say this is helpful, and then I hit submit. And there you go. So then that goes to our Ask Tom administrator to be able to look at and say, well, maybe this article could be improved, or maybe it's doing a good job because everybody viewed it as helpful. So anyway, that it's not required, but it's definitely something that gives you the ability to do. If you don't necessarily, if you just kind of want to browse through your different articles, you can do that as well. If you just hit view Ask Tom articles. Since this is the dev org, we only have a handful listed here, and so it would just give you different listings. One key difference about the Ask Tom articles in this release as opposed to the current prod release, say I got a 2U's here in Bursar, but we have the ability to embed video, and one that we have tested is this one right here. So if you view the testing with video embedding article, there's actually a YouTube video embedded. So that is something we haven't gone through and retroactively embedded any video into any Ask Tom articles, but I do anticipate that for future articles, we will go through and potentially put videos into them to make them easier to follow. And potentially, if there are any that we have videos for or that are used a lot, we may go through and to the existing ones and put videos in. But the system does give us the capability to embed video. So, like I said, this is just for testing. I included a video here that was a Happy Holidays video the university had previously. So if we do click on that, you'll show that the video actually plays within the Ask Tom article. So it's something that is very exciting that hopefully we can use in the future. Okay. So that's pretty much the Ask Tom. Now, if you wanted to ask an Ask Tom question, you can search for Ask Tom, and then you have this form here. So let's say you've gone through Ask Tom, you've viewed everything, and there isn't one an Ask Tom article existing that answers your question. You can create or ask a question to be answered and potentially published for everyone else to see. You just search for Ask Tom. You see the name of it is Ask Tom Question, and just put what your question is. It will be answered and given back to you. And then if it's something that we don't already have somewhere else, or we view it as though that's a pretty good question, we will put it out there and make it publicly available for others to be able to see. Okay. All right, the next tile we have is request Tigerland supply. So if you click on that, you just get this offering here, and then it's just a link to be able to log into the TRL order site, which is where you would go to order toner and paper for different areas. So unless you're ordering toner or paper, is probably not pertinent to you, but I just wanted to cover that and let you know what that is. Report emergency outage exists if you happen to notice that the network is down, and you want to get that reported real quick. As always, you're more than welcome to call the service desk at 8888-678-8888. But you have the ability to put that in here as well. You could just put in urgency, whether it's high, low, or critical high, low, or medium. You select that, and then you can put in what you're experiencing. You can say, hey, network is down in my office, and you just put what your office is, and then just hit submit, and it'll give you a ticket number to let you know, okay, this has been submitted and received by the appropriate department. So that's just what that is. There's no categories or nothing, but just give us what your issue is that you are currently experiencing. You also have the capability to put that in on the behalf of someone else's there as well. You can add an attachment. I didn't cover that in the last one, but if you want to add an attachment, it's pretty basic. You just click the paper clip, and you can submit an attachment if you want to do that here. So let's put a picture of Pouncer in there and hit submit. Well, and hit submit, and it goes through there. Okay, so that's how you do report emergency outage. Staff console, what this does is gives you the capability to access the console for staff. If you're not currently a staff member, don't have permission to access this, it will just tell you insufficient privileges, so it won't do anything for you. So, like I said, unless you're staff, this really doesn't mean anything for you. So don't worry about it unless you're staff. And if you are staff, this is how you will get to the console, because the default page, once you log in, will be the self-service page. Now, what you may or may not notice is in the current release, there is a tab that says View Tickets and Requests, and that's how you go through and look at all the tickets that you have had entered in and view the status of them. That tab does not exist in the new release. But what does exist is this little box right here that says, hey, are looking for tickets and requests? View in my activity. So when you click on that, you see I picture myself. So if you ever wonder who I am, there you go. But what you'll see now is that your tickets and your service requests are listed kind of in a chronological order. Instead of it just being a list view of every single ticket you've entered in all these different columns, it is entered in chronologically. So you'll see these are the tickets I entered in today. Before that, I entered in tickets on February 8th, the 1st, January 24th, so on and so forth. Okay. This is just the end of my tickets in this particular org. The first one was January 18th. So it just gives you the ticket number and whether it's open or not, what that description is. You see, this is the one I just put in about the network being down, and then this is the test one I created a second ago for Pouncer. So if you want to view that particular ticket, you can just click on it, and it will give you more information. So it tells you the exact date and time that it was submitted, if it was on behalf of yourself or someone else. Click on the details. You see it's all collapsed. It'll give you the information. You see it's one for that I submitted the attachment for. I didn't select an urgency because it wasn't required. Put it in test. My attachments. So there's my picture of Pouncer. If I click on it, see there's the attachment that I selected earlier. And in my notes, it just tells me that it was opened from self-service by umtech, which is the admin account I'm logged into. Okay. So if you want to make any adjustments or add a note to that, you're more than welcome to. Type that in, hit add note, and now you'll notice that the note has been added there. See test note. Okay. and you would just hit submit if you had made other changes to it aside from that note, because when I hit add note, it added that note. If you wanted to copy a ticket, so let's say you've entered in multiple tickets, you want to copy them over. So I've got a ticket just like this, but maybe I want to change one particular thing. I can just hit copy, and now all the information that I had saved for the attachment is listed. So my description was carried over, my urgency, which was non-existent, carried over. So I can select an urgency here and then hit submit. And now I have a new ticket number will appear here. Okay, so it gives you the ability to copy tickets as well. I'm just gonna go back and view my activity. Okay, so there's the 2 tickets that I created. So it just gives you a different way to view it. Like I said, here's your dates and here's your time of when the ticket was submitted. Okay, and then it just gives you your information. By default, you won't have a picture. I put my picture in here just to test the feature out. It's actually pretty lengthy and pretty involved how to get your picture there. So we probably won't be doing that. And to tell the truth, in the subsequent trainings, I won't really include this picture in here because I'll use a different org. So kind of ignore my picture here. It gives you your email address. You want to go back. Other things to point out, we have the capability to submit broadcasts and messages. So if there is an event that we want to inform the community of, so let's say we want to inform everyone that I don't want to pick on network, so let's say we'll inform everyone that Banner is undergoing some maintenance. We will put the specific dates and times in there, and you will have a message that will scroll across the top here. We currently have that functionality in the existing one. It's in the same exact place. The branding is just a little bit different. In the current production, it's this blue, where in the future one that's coming out, it will be gray, but it still operates the same way. You have your mouse over it and it will stop the scrolling. If scrolling is getting on your nerve, or if you need a chance to be able to read it, you just put your mouse on it and it will stop. Okay. The only other really thing to touch on is the Ask Tom. It functions the same exact way as the current release. It's just different color. This gray instead of the current one where it's blue. But everything else operates identically. There's currently nobody logged in because this is the dev and I'm the only person in here. So that's why I'm not able to initiate a chat session right now. But like I said, functionally speaking, nothing has changed. Okay, so that is really the changes on the self-service side, and how it is a little bit different. For the most part, functionally speaking, it's all the same. Things just to look a little bit different. Your service requests are in this little pop-up here instead of it being a full window here that has all your information. The branding's a little bit different. Your Ask Time articles, you can embed video in there and they kind of look like a pop-up as well, whereas in the current one, look like the service quest in its own little window with your question and answer here. Okay. So, like I said, that is for the self-service. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to let me know. You can send an email to umtech@memphis.edu, and I will get those questions answered and potentially include them in the future trainings. Because if you have a question, other people may have them as well. So next, I want to talk about the console. So if you don't have the console and don't know what it is, you can feel free to drop off and digest everything that has been discussed so far. So the console is where we go to do our work on our tickets, on the to assign tickets, to add notes to a ticket, to reassign them to a different department, close tickets, email clients, so on and so forth. So what you know is the console right now looks like this. You have your different queues, if you will, different viewings to where you can see what tickets exist in different areas. You have your column headers here that show you every column that exists here. And then when you click on a ticket, you just have your different fields here and your different sections. Okay. So that's, pretty much the console the way it is now. If you want to email somebody, come up your actions, email, actions, add note, so on and so forth. Well, the console is going to look a little bit different in the future release. What you'll notice right off the bat is that uh, the text is a little bit bigger. Okay, so the font's a little bit bigger, and you'll notice that there's two different color fonts here. So you have this blue, and then you have a gray. Whereas in the current release, it's just all kind of just this black, typical standard font. Well, that actually does mean something in the new release. The difference between the blue and this gray font is that the blue font signifies a ticket that has not had an action taken on that ticket. What it means by an action is that there is no or has not been a note or an email taken on that ticket. So it's just kind of a way to signify that this ticket probably needs some attention at some point in time because it hasn't really been touched other than potentially being assigned to someone. So in just a minute, I will go over that and show how whenever I add a note to a ticket or send an email from within the ticket, how it changes color. It will change from this blue to this gray. So just remember that. I'll come back to it in just a second. There are a couple more things I wanted to touch on before I did that. Another thing that you'll notice, and is something that I'm excited about, is you see these column headers are a little bit different. So in the current release, what we have are all of these column headers that exist. In the current release, the only way to control this is for the enterprise level. So whatever one person views, everybody has to view. So information that maybe service desk needs, all other departments are going to need. So we have to put that stuff out there that is just going to be for everyone. And I think we have a total of 17 different fields up there right now that I have the capability of putting. So what they've done, because not all this information is really pertinent to everybody and people, it takes up real estate that you don't necessarily care about, is you have the ability to customize these column headers on a user basis. So as you'll see here, if I don't work at the service desk, I don't care about ticket reviews because that's only service desk, the only place that does that. I may not care about password reset callback time because if I don't work at the service desk, I'm not resetting anybody's password. I don't even have the capability to reset someone's password. Okay. Maybe I don't care about seeing the close date. I don't know. It's just kind of up to you. But in the new release, you have the capability to adjust what you see. So the way that you do that is that you will notice here by this question mark in this right-hand side, you will have these three lines right here. If you click on that, you will get this box that's titled Select and Order Columns. So you'll have this long list of columns that you can move in and sort. One thing to note is that number always has to be listed as a selected column and it will always be listed first. Okay, that is something the system requires, that this number column is always listed first. You can't take it out and you can't move it. Okay, that's the one caveat. Aside from that, you can put whatever is listed in here and in whatever order you want it. So let's say let's just wipe it all off. So I'll just show you potentially what we could do here. So let's say for whatever reason I only want to see the number. If I hit save, it'll refresh and now it's going to go to the default, which is every single thing. So this is what would it look like with no customization. So when we first launched this, you probably will look something like this. So one of the first things you want to do is go in there and get this looking the way that you want to look it. So you'll go through here, and like I said, if you don't work at the service desk, you don't care about ticket review. So you can either take this and drag it and drop it, or you can select it and then hit this arrow and move it over, however works for you. You may not care about password reset callback time, which we've already taken out. You see you got two different respond by progresses, which I will talk about that too. So let's say, well, let me leave those both up there for right now. Let me see. Let's say you don't care about service request information. We'll move that out of here. You'll hit save. What you'll notice is, see, this service request information will disappear. Okay. And the ticket review is gone. Okay. So that's, removing those. And let's say maybe I want the department to be listed above staff. So I select that, and then we'll notice department will move over here in front of staff. Okay. So however you want to do it, it's per user. So you can customize this to your liking. You'll notice here, like I said, we've got two respond by progresses, and I will rename them, probably new and old, just to make it easier to follow. What you'll see in this column right here, this respond by progress, is these three lights that we have had since the beginning when we first launched. And what they mean is, if you have a green light, that means that you have more than 50% of the time remaining to respond to that ticket. So based on your impact and your urgency, your ticket is given a priority, which then calculates how many hours or days that you have to actually respond to that ticket and reach out to that person. So the green means you got more than 50% of that total time left. The yellow means you've got less than 50% of the time. And the red means you haven't responded and you've already passed the respond by date. However, the issue that we've had with these lights since we first launched them is that they don't stop the clock running, and they don't really signify when you have reached out to a person. It's just a clock that operates that way. So if I reached out to someone before the respond by date, the light's not going to not change. It's going to change just based on the current date and the respond by date. So it's not really interactive. It's more kind of like a due date, just to let you know how much time you've got left, but it doesn't let you know whether you actually have responded to that client. So what we've done with this row is, first we made the icon easier to see. We went through and took out the three lights that viewing all the time, because some people said that it was kind of hard to denote which one was red, yellow, or green, and they were a little bit small. So we've removed the two lights that aren't being used at the time and only giving you the one light that signifies the status of that ticket, or how much time you have left to respond in that ticket. And we made these responsive. So if you add a note to a ticket, if it's green, it's going to stay green. If it's yellow, it's going to stay yellow. And if it's red, it'll stay red. So it'll just let you know, if you look on this for reporting, or you're just looking at it to view your tickets, if it's green, I'm good to go. I actually respond to that person before my respond by date, and I don't have to worry about it. But in the current lights, even though you may have responded, it will turn yellow or red once that date passes. So these probably aren't something that you want to use. If you want to use this at all, I would highly suggest you not use the old one, because it just gives you the amount of time remaining. Doesn't really take into account whether you have reached out to that person or not. So anyway, so if we want to take it out, like I said, they have the same name right now, but I'll probably change the name or a little bit different to make it easier to figure out which one is which. But we can take that old one out, hit save. Now we'd only be able to view the new light. Okay. So like I said, that new one is going to let you know if you have responded to that person or not. If you're green, you don't have to worry about it. If you're yellow, you probably need to reach out to that person. You see this one right here. The respond by date is February 15th at 2 p.m. Today is February 13th at 3:14. So I've got less than 50% of that time, total time left. The ticket was created on February 8th. So I probably need to hurry up and do that. If it's red, just let you know, hey, you missed your respond by date. So our respond by date on this one was February 9th at 9:56, and it's 13th. So too late. I missed that one. But if you don't want to view these at all, you can just take it out. It's just kind of to help you know how far along you are. Okay. Another thing to note is that you see this client name. We can get rid of that because in the current system, your client ID is the same as your client name, and that holds true. Oh, that holds true in the current one, so it's kind of duplicate. So maybe I just want to take out client name here because it doesn't really have any information in it anyway. So it's blank, so I can take that out. Like I said, you just customize this however you want, whatever order, so on and so forth. If there's any columns that are not listed here as an available column that maybe you would like to see have the ability to put up here in these column headers, you just let me know and I will see what I can do about adding that column in there. Gives us the capability to add many more columns in there now, since not everybody has to view every column listed there. You can customize it. So just let me know or email umtech@memphis.edu, and like I said, I'll see what I can about getting that column added. Okay, so those are the main things about the console. Beside this branding right here, it's BMC's branding, the orange and dark gray. Unfortunately, I cannot change that branding, so we will have to stick with that for the time being. I can change it on the self-service, but just not on the console. Okay, so let's actually open up a ticket and see what that looks like. So we'll notice it follows the same kind of concept and looks a little bit different here. So you'll notice really follows the same pattern. You've got your different sections here and your different fields. It just looks a little bit cleaner. Just like on the self-service side, instead of the description or the label for the field being to the left of it, it's now directly above it. So you'll see like here, department is above the field for department, whereas on the existing one, it is to the left of it. And as well, instead of the red bar, you have required. Okay. Sorry about that. I had some microphone issues. Okay. Another thing to point out is in the current release, we have all these alt fields. The reason these alt fields exist is if you have an account that is listed, say, as a Tiger student account. So let's say I want to put this in here. So I need to enter a ticket for, say, Tiger student. I got to select FCR. So that's kind of a generic or dummy account, if you will, that doesn't really have the pertinent information. So these alt fields exist so I can put in the person's actual name and information pertinent to them. So I have alt first name, alt last name, alt email, so on and so forth. So that's why we have the alt fields now. In the future release, we won't have to worry about that. So let's create a ticket for a Tiger student account so I can show you in practice how that works. So what you can do is you can just start typing in Tiger, and what you'll notice is that you start to see kind of an autofill of the different suggestions for Tiger, and the values that we have typed in are bolden. So you see alumnus Tiger, Tiger is bolden because that's the word we've typed in, and so on and so forth. So Tiger student, listed here at the very bottom. We could just come down here and select, or we could keep on typing. And once you select that, that gives you that option listed here. And you hit save. All right. So you notice for Tiger student, it just throws their Tiger student as the client name, much like it did in the old one. However, in the current, I said old, but in the current release, it separates the first name and the last name. Whereas in the new release, it will just have one field, client name. It's not separated anymore by first name or last name. It's just got one field. Okay. But let's say we need to enter in that specific information for that person. Instead of having all those alt fields, we can just delete that Tiger student and actually type in that person's name. We can want to put in their U number, and put in their email address, so on and so forth. And keep going down the line and just hit save, and we're good to go. You don't have to worry about all those alt fields. And the reason we had to have those is because in the current release, these fields are not editable, so you can't go through and change those. That's why you have to type in these extra alt fields. But we've made these read write in the new release. So you just come through here and just put in whatever information is relative to that client. What you notice too here is that you have this little box that allows you to hover and gives you specific information about that client. As also, I mean, it's down here as well. But if you want to copy and paste, you can do that from within here if you need be. Just letting you know what that box is for. One important thing to point out is that if you've entered a ticket in for the wrong client, so let's say this one's entered in for Tiger student, however, it really needs to be entered for Robert Rose. You can change that. You can come up here and type in my name and find me. However, it's important that if you have already entered a ticket and saved that ticket, and you now need to change it to a different person, that you check this box right here that says overwrite client details. Because if you do not, when you save it, none of this information here will update. Okay. That's probably not a good example because I was typing in my own name and that's who I am here. But if you do select overwrite client details, it will overwrite the values that you had typed in here for that person. So you'll see now, once I check that box, it actually pulled the values for that client ID. Like I said, that you only have to do that if you are changing that client ID from someone or from a previous value to a new value. Just make sure that box is checked. If you happen to notice as you're entering a ticket in that, hey, this information hasn't updated, like I said, make sure that box is checked. For the most part, everything else is the same as it operates down here within the form. Nothing else really has changed. They just look a little bit different, a little bit flatter, different, little gooey. The key thing to note is there are two more key things. So let me see. All right, for the sake of demonstration, real quick, I'm going to log in as myself. So bear with me just one brief second here. I should probably already have this in a different window. Taking a note for things to do for the next training. All right. Okay. So created a ticket, or I've logged into a ticket rather. And one awesome feature for the new release is, you see now I'm in the ticket. I want to assign it to myself because I'm going to take ownership of this ticket. Whereas what we've traditionally had to do is either click on the department, hit the little person beside the department, and then select your name. You've either had to do that, or you've had to hit the magnifying glass beside staff and then select your name. In the new release, as long as you are a member of the department listed, that's an important thing to know. You have to be a member of the department listed. You can just hit this icon right here that says assign to me. If you click that, come on, reload. Let me refresh because I clicked on the wrong console tab. All right. All right. Now, as long as you're in a department that you are a member of, if you click this icon, it should change to green, and now I've assigned it to myself. Okay. So it's a whole lot easier than having to come over here and manually select your name, do service desk, and then manually find yourself and select it here, or having to come up here and select the magnifying glass and your name. Okay, it's a whole lot easier doing that. You just check that little icon that says assign to me. So if it's green, you know it's already assigned to you. So if we reload this, we'll see that it is assigned to me. I just deleted that value but didn't save it, so that's why it didn't show up here. But if you, like I said, it is assigned to you if it is green. If it is black in nature, then it is not assigned to you. So let me stop impersonating myself, and I will show you. So now I'm no longer in as Robert Rose. I'm in as umtech. So you see now it is black because it is assigned to Robert Rose, which is not the account I'm logged into right now. So let's say I do click that icon, but I am not in a queue that I'm a member of, or rather, this ticket is not assigned to a department that I'm a member of. What happens is you get an error message that says your changes cannot be saved because the record does not belong to any of the queues for which you are a member. So you have to go through and make sure that ticket is assigned to a department that you are a member of. And as long as you do that, then that will turn green and it will assign it to you. Okay. So that's a cool feature that may save people a little bit of time. Another pretty cool feature is the activity feed. So traditionally, when we've had to go through and add notes to tickets, what we've had to do is open that ticket, come up here to actions, and then add note to add a note, or to send an email. We'd go through the same process into actions, email, get this pop up here, and then type something up and send an email. In this new release, we have activity feed that we can pop out, and now you can add notes, send emails, and add attachments all from within this activity feed. You don't have to bounce back and forth between actions and note or go to details to view. Okay, so let's say I'm in activity feed and I want to add a note. I just hit this little plus sign here for add note. And hit add. And now you see my notes. Now it's also going to be viewable in the details. This is a note that I just added, but it's here as well. If I want to send an email to the client, I just click on this. And I hit send. And you'll see now it's listed here an action that was an email was sent. And then if I hit show more, it will show me what all the information pertaining to that action. One thing to note, that if you use an email template right now, you cannot use an email template directly within the activity feed. So if you're wanting to send an email with an email template, you can click here, which gives you a shortcut to the traditional pop-up where you select an appropriate email template. Okay, you just cannot do it manually from here. All right. Oops. So another thing that you can do, you can cancel that, is like I said, add attachment. You just click that and you have the ability to add an attachment there as well. Okay. And if you're in a ticket and you want to refresh, you can hit this button right here and it'll refresh. Okay. So like I said, if you go to details, you'll notice that everything listed there is in here as well. So there's the email that I sent earlier, as well as the note that I was added, but I can also view it in the activity feed. So as before, see this ticket is blue, but I added a note to it. If I refresh, see the ticket is no longer blue, it has turned gray. So remember, it goes back to when we first started talking about the console. The dark blue lets you know that there's not been an action taken on that ticket, that it needs a note added or an email sent or some type of action. But once you do that, the ticket turns a grayish color. Okay. So the activity feed, the system recognizes the last view that you had the activity feed in, if you will. So if you have the activity feed expanded and you go to a different ticket, it will pop it out automatically. So it should pop out here in just a second. So see, it just pops out. But if I close it, the next ticket that I go to, it should have it closed or not popped out, popped in, I guess. So there's a ticket loaded and it's popped in. Just note that if you leave the ticket popped out, or excuse me, you have the activity feed popped out, and you go to open up another ticket, there is a little bit of performance delay here. So you see it takes just a couple seconds and then it pops it out. So just make note of that it does delay it just a little bit if you always leave them popped out. But it is pretty cool if you're always wanting to view the notes or emails without having to come through here and pop this out or click on the details section. So that's pretty much the main changes. To recap briefly here, you've got your blue and your gray colors. Your blue for your tickets denote that that ticket has not yet had a note or an email for that ticket. So once a note is added or an email is sent to the client, the ticket will turn from blue to a dark gray color. You have the ability to customize your columns, of which you see here. To do that, you click on these three lines here and you make those adjustments accordingly and hit save. And then once you do that, it will refresh on its own. Whenever you view a ticket, you can enter in all the client information. If it happens to be a Tiger account, you can update that information here without having to use the alt fields. You can assign a ticket to yourself by hitting assign to me, provided that you are in a member of the department that the ticket is assigned to. So if the ticket is not assigned to a department, whenever you click on this, you will get this error message because you're not a member of no department. Okay. If you are a member and you click that, it'll turn green and assign it to yourself. Activity feed has the ability to add notes, send emails, and add attachments from within this activity feed that pops out and in. If you leave it popped out and you view another ticket, it will automatically open the ticket with that activity feed popped out with a little bit of performance delay. If you leave it popped in, the next time you open a ticket, it will leave it popped in. And that is the major changes for the winter release. We don't have any questions, but if anybody has any questions that come up or anything that you want to touch on, maybe for the next training, or just things that you've thought about after the training, please feel free to get with me and ask those questions, and I will get them answered for you as soon as possible. Like I said, this will be rolled out to the university on March the 6th. The service desk will be testing the weekend prior, and we'll have the week of spring break to kind of make sure everything's running smoothly before the students and faculty get back after spring break. Okay. This session is recorded, so if anybody wants to view this, it will be available afterwards. And unless anyone has any questions, thank you for your time and look forward to seeing you later on. Bye bye.